Hi everyone, my name is Cameron St. Clair and this is my podcast Vibes Digest, where I'm digesting all trending topics in pop culture, new music, discussing what's happening on social media, and even giving you guys some advice. I'm so freaking excited. This is my first episode. I'm filming this in my home, in my living room. I'm gonna have to do this probably really quickly because I'm not gonna lie, I put my cat in the closet. If you follow me on YouTube, TikTok, you know I recently got a Bengal kitten and she was going insane with my setup, especially my microphone. Oh, if you guys want visuals, by the way, I do post on YouTube. I'm gonna try and put the link in the description so you guys can check that out. But also you can just look me up on YouTube, Vibes Digest, podcast. Honestly, I haven't really made the YouTube channel yet, but that will also be in the description. We're very new here, you guys. Let's start with the Vibe Spotlight, where I highlight an artist. Today's Vibe Spotlight is going to be Tyler, the Creator. Tyler drops his album on October 28th at 6 a.m. His reasoning behind this is he wanted to bring back Tuesday album drops and didn't agree with dropping music at midnight on Friday night. Such an interesting concept, and just to provide a little bit of historical context on music drops, there was a time where most artists were dropping on Tuesdays, not Friday. I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong here when I say that the trend of dropping on a Friday actually started when Beyonce dropped her self-entitled album, Beyonce. She did a surprise drop on a Friday at midnight, and I really think that's what really sparks other artists dropping on Friday. There's other benefits to it too that Tyler kind of explains in an interview. Like, a lot of people think, hey, if you drop on a Friday, you can not beat the system, but you can perform better with weekly sales and streaming because people are going to be playing your album in the club. But honestly, I feel like somebody like Tyler doesn't really care about that, because does Tyler even make club music? No, that's not the type of artist that he is. But I do like his point of view, and I do really appreciate that he's really focusing in on the whole concept. Let's remember who we're making music for, and at the end of the day, that is the fans. A good point that he mentioned is people, your fans and supporters are waiting for you to drop this album for weeks, months, gosh, some artists years, and you decide to drop it at midnight on a Friday, or a Thursday technically, but midnight, yeah, at Friday, 12:01. Okay, well, yes. A lot of people aren't really able to digest the album at that hour. Half the time people have work on a Friday, right? People aren't going to be able to stay up all night, and then if they're actually listening, they're kind of passively listening. So I definitely understand his whole concepts with this, and I just love that he's centering the fans. I love that he released the album during the morning time on a Monday, and his whole concept was people should be listening to music at on their commute, on their way to work. I think that's a really interesting concept, something that I never really considered. But I definitely enjoyed it this morning. I worked from home this morning, transparently, but I do plan on listening to this album when I go into the office tomorrow. And I think that is the perfect time to honestly really listen to music, sitting in a car, really hearing the words while obviously paying attention to the road. Please pay attention to the road. But I do understand his point of view. At first I was going to film a reaction video on YouTube, but that was until I saw his post this morning where he said, make sure you listen in full, no expectations, no distractions, no checking texts or social media, letting others paint your thoughts on ish before you get a chance. Thank you. I love that. I love that so much, because especially somebody like me, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm scrolling on TikTok, immediately before I even finish the video, I'm jumping to the comments. What are people saying, right? Same with YouTube videos. I might be a quarter into a YouTube video, and guess what I'm doing? Reading the comments. Same when albums drop. I'm not even really listening to the music, because half the time I want to see what the audience is saying on Twitter. This time, when I didn't have time to listen right when it dropped. I wasn't even up right when it dropped. But around midday, when I had time, around my lunchtime, I was like, okay, I did not look on Twitter. I did not look for anybody's advice. I I did not look on Twitter. I did not look for anybody's opinion. I just went right ahead and started the album start to finish. And it was such a cool experience, like putting the phone down and just truly tapping into the music. I really enjoyed the album. I do want to kind of get into it. So I will say there's going to be so many spoilers. Hopefully by now of this upload, you have listened. But if you haven't, I suggest you pause this episode right here, go take a listen, and then come back to the episode and let's get into digesting it. So the first song was Saint Chroma, and if you know me, you know that I truly believe that songs in an album should sound like they all belong on the same album. I don't like when artists just have a bunch of single-worthy songs or a bunch of songs that don't really tell a story in the album. It could have been like 3-4 different albums in one album. I don't really like that, but Saint Chroma really kicked the album off. I did enjoy it. However, I won't lie, I kind of got nervous with the transition to Raw Ta Ta Ta. Sorry, Raw Ta Ta. That transition was a little rough for me. But then when Raw Ta Ta transitioned to Noid, I was like, why did I ever consider doubting Tyler, the creator himself? Oh my gosh, that transition, I felt like I was floating. Like, it was the most perfect transition ever. Yeah, it was the most perfect transition ever. Absolutely loved it. There's so much storytelling in this album. I love how personal and deep Tyler was able to get with this album. Again, starting with Noid, this is when I feel like his vulnerability kind of came out a little bit because he's really able to talk about his experience as a celebrity and his lack of privacy that he has in the spotlight. I mean, we all know Tyler really values his privacy. I feel like he talks about this pretty often and publicly. He's not the type that like really truly enjoys just taking pictures at a restaurant. He talks about that. Or if you see him down the street, like, I don't know if he's the celebrity that will stop and take pictures with everyone, but it's kind of part of his persona, you know? But it was kind of interesting to hear a little bit more of I want to say a little bit of a more vulnerable side of that, because some people have thought Tyler to be a little bit of a butthole for it, but it's always joking. Like when he insults his fans, I'm doing quotation marks if you're listening on audio, or jokes around with his fans. I do feel like it's all a part of his persona, his brand. He loves his fans dearly. We all know this. I will say though, in this, we got to see a little bit more of the vulnerable perspective of why he values his privacy. A line that really stuck out to me was, "You sing along, but you don't know me. Nah, never ever, not at all. Y'all done crossed the line like F the stop sign." Yeah, I thought that was so interesting. I'm not too sure if there was like an event that happened, and maybe I should do like a little bit more research on that. If there was like a situation where, like, let's say a fan found out where he lives, because he also talks about that in some other bars. He goes into people wanting to know where he sleeps at night, and he doesn't trust anybody. And he talks about how he like sleeps with explosives under his bed. He probably sleeps with guns under his bed. I would be very surprised if Tyler was not strapped. But it was very interesting, and it felt like he was really kind of saying that some people have tried to tap too much into his private life, and there's a lack of boundaries when it comes to the fandom. Now, transitioning into Darling I, this was definitely top 5 song on the album for me. I do think I need to listen to the album a few more times before I rank it. So next episode, and I mean already plugging the next episode, but the next episode you should tune in, because I promised I would give you the top 5 list for that. This is definitely making it though, 100%. He kind of talks about relationships, monogamy. He's talking about a woman, and we know that Tyler is bisexual, and we also know that he had a girlfriend for a little while who was much younger than him. I don't know if this song is necessarily about that person in general, but he's kind of alluding to it. The line that really stuck out for me was, "Nobody can fulfill me like this music-ish does, so I'll be lonely with these Grammys when it's all said and done." It's almost like he's really prioritizing music over relationships, but also through relationships realizing that monogamy might not be his route. which is such an interesting concept, and I feel like a conversation that a lot more people are having in 2024, at least on the platforms that I listen to, the podcasts that I listen to. There has been a recent conversation on what does monogamy actually look like. And when people discuss like cheating, for example, is it just the fact that you don't want the traditional monogamous relationship? Like if you have a pattern of cheating on your partner, so if you have a pattern of not being able to stick with one person, maybe like hopping from relationship to relationship just because you want to be with someone new, there's like a question there of like, hey, is monogamy actually for you? And I think that's something that Tyler's kind of covering here. And he's definitely talking one particular relationship. And he kind of goes into the next song, Hey Jane. And this was a really like, I would say it's not the most vulnerable song. I think Talk Your Mask Off. Wait, was it called Talk Your Mask Off? I'm looking this up. I thought it was called Take Your Mask Off. Oh my gosh, forgive me, typo. I definitely feel like Take Your Mask Off was for sure the most vulnerable song on this album. But Hey Jane comes pretty close. There's a conversation between J and T, and essentially Jane gets pregnant. She's 35 and she doesn't know if she'll be able to get pregnant much longer. She feels like she's ready to have this baby, even if it's with herself. By herself, she can do it on her own. She's telling Tyler, hey, there's no pressure for you to step in. She even goes, like, alludes to the fact that she had an abortion at 24, doesn't want to go through that again, and this feels like a good opportunity for her. Tyler's kind of like, he took a shortcut to forever. I'm upset. They're still learning each other. They don't really know each other. He doesn't really know if having a kid with someone that you barely know is the right route. But they both bonded over the fact that they have daddy issues, essentially. And that's kind of one of the themes that we see throughout this entire album. Tyler's struggle with his relationships with his father, or the lack of a father figure in his life. And we see a lot of that in Hey Jane. It seems like Tyler's really frustrated that he almost calls it like a mistake. Like he made a mistake and didn't really think things through. And I truly don't think that he even wants her to necessarily have an abortion. I feel like he wishes that he did it the right way, or what he defines as the right way. And he wishes that they were in a relationship much longer. They knew each other better. He felt more confident in the idea of them being able to raise a child together. He doesn't want this to be the solution, but he thinks that is the best. Oh my gosh, I have to stop hitting this. Sorry if there's tapping. He doesn't think the best solution is for them to have a child because, again, he questions, like, do we know each other well enough? I definitely find this interesting, and it's almost like a little bit of guilt that Tyler's feeling, and he doesn't want to repeat history, especially repeat the history of what his father did. I thought, like, for a moment, holy crap, does Tyler, the creator, have a child? I definitely wanted to, like, dig a little bit deeper before I started this pod and be like, oh my gosh, were there rumors that I missed that Tyler has a kid? No, baby. He does not have a kid. As soon as I looked up Hey Jane, I found out that Hey Jane is actually a New York City-based healthcare company that provides abortion-related healthcare services in the United States. That was absolutely genius, Tyler. Oh my gosh, to title it the company, like, you are definitely making people do some research, and I love that. I love that so much. That was genius. That was so genius that you literally titled it what essentially ended up happening, because there was kind of a cliffhanger, right? We didn't actually fully know, like, what did Jane actually decide to do? Did she decide to keep the kid? Was she gonna, like, raise this kid all by herself? What happened there? Or did Tyler, like, step up? We didn't know, but as soon as you look up the title of the song, yeah. Also, to confirm that, the next song is called I Killed You, which is a little tough. Yeah, it kind of like goes into it a little bit of like, yeah, they did go with the latter. They did decide to, unfortunately, not have the child, or fortunately, because maybe that was the best decision for them. It sounds like it was the best decision for them. The next song then is like Judge Judy, and I'm not gonna go into every single song here, don't you worry. But I really like that. I believe Steve Lacy was on this album. Let me confirm. Oh no! Uh-oh. Oh my gosh, the music gods are gonna kill me for this. That was Childish Gambino. What? Am I tripping? Comment down below if you felt like that was Steve Lacy's voice. Is that crazy of me that I thought that sounded like Steve? Wow, I'm actually like genuinely surprised. Wow, okay. Whew, this is not good for my credibility for my first episode. But this isn't like a music podcast, I won't lie. I just really do enjoy hip hop and music in general. So, sorry. Sorry, Childish Gambino. Sorry, Donald Glover. Yeah, that was his, that was another like really good song. I really enjoyed it. There was honestly, some of the vocals sounded very similar to Call Me If You Get Lost album. And I kind of was wondering if this is like a continuation of that album. Maybe, maybe not. I could be stretching. You know, we love theories in the music world. One of my other favorite songs, I don't know if it's top 5 yet. Again, I need to listen a little bit more, was the song Sticky. Now, I did see on Twitter some people were hating. So I'm happy that I listened to Tyler and I just like really took a moment and listened to this album on my own. Really sat with it before I definitely like started reading the Twitter and Reddit comments. Some people didn't like Sticky, but I really rocked with it. And I feel like it's a great song to perform. Which, speaking of which, he is going on tour and I really, really want tickets. I hate the fact that he's selling his tickets when rent is due. Sir, I need artists to like really think about this. You guys should never sell concert tickets on November 1st. I'm here to tell you, do it in the middle of the week. That is always a check that does not touch somebody's mortgage, rent, wherever the case may be. Tickets, and I cannot whip the credit card out for this. I fear I have to stay strong, but I did see Tyler, the Creator, during his Igor album era, and that was such an amazing performance. Oh my gosh, that was back in 2019, I believe. So right before the pandemic, right before like concerts completely shifted. Wow, so much fun. I believe it was at the Merriweather. Is that right? Merriweather in Maryland. It was like an outdoor venue, but we had seats in the bowl. Such an iconic performance, such a great era. I absolutely love Tyler, the Creator, so I probably will try to get tickets, but hopefully resale value doesn't go ridiculous. Ooh, fingers crossed. The last 2 songs that I really want to talk about is first, Like Him, and he's talking about chasing his dad and really unpacking a lot of his dad issues. We also hear his mom throughout this album. I'm 98% sure that is his mother because she's been on his albums in the past. I thought it was so cool that he included her throughout the album, and I thought it was really interesting that she apologizes in the album and just says, you know, your dad actually did want to have a relationship with you, but I was just too young to actually want to encourage that and put my feelings aside for my kid and give you that relationship that you deserved. I think this is something that's probably going to be relatable for a lot of people listening to this album. I'm happy that like through music it sounds like Tyler's kind of like working through a lot of either childhood traumas or just things that he may have struggled with growing up that he might have suppressed, but now obviously as you get older it kind of like bleeds into your life. And again, going off of the songs earlier in the album when he talks about almost being a father. Now granted, this could just be a complete story. This could have nothing to do with Tyler's life. We will never know because we do not know that man, right? Remember how annoyed he told us, you sing along but you don't know my life? Yeah, this whole album could just be like a freaking fiction book, right? He could be making up every single detail, or it could be about somebody he knows. But let's just say hypothetically this is a reflection of his life. I do think it's really cool when artists like use music to kind of like cope and heal through their childhood experiences. And I just really appreciate how vulnerable he's being on this album, whether it's about him specifically. I think it might be about him specifically. I'm gonna go ahead and guess that that's what it is, but who knows? Also, I just want to say that when I talked about this album on my YouTube channel, I predicted that Joshi was gonna be on this album, and I'm so freaking hyped. Well, I didn't predict. I was like, I really, really hope that she ends up on the album, but she did end up on the album, and I'm so freaking hyped. Like, if my roommate was asleep right now, I would be screaming off the top of my lungs. She killed that verse. And honestly, I strongly believe that Doechii should be on tour with him, not Mr. Lil Yachty. First of all, Lil Yachty can barely, I've seen that man perform, and I've seen him perform at a freaking festival. Where I feel like festivals are like, in my opinion, I think festivals are very easy to like keep a crowd jumping compared to opening for an artist, especially when an artist isn't as similar to your music. Like, I think it's safe to say, I mean, granted, the majority of their fans probably do cross over. I can definitely see that. But I don't know. I think I would guess like around 30 to 40% of Tyler's fans actually don't really listen to Lil Yachty. And I would actually argue that at least half of his fans would rather Doechii over Lil Yachty. Maybe I'm being a hater. Am I being a hater? You let me know. Well, that was the first segment. Definitely highly recommend you guys go take a listen of the album. I love being able to like break down albums a little bit more. Again, this just dropped today, the day I'm filming, although this episode is going out on Wednesday, which I believe is October 30th. I do want to listen to it a little bit more, but I just want to like recommend everyone else to listen to it. I love Tyler, the Creator. I love how it's not your typical rap album or typical hip hop album. It's kind of like, I think I've seen people call it alternative hip hop. I love the genre, and I love that he's like kind of twisted the genre a little bit. You know what I mean? But no, this was really good, and some people are saying that, and you know, there's always going to be those Tyler haters, but some people are saying that this album sounds a little bit too similar like his last 3 albums. They feel like, oh, like his music is all sounding the same. I think there's a difference between lyrics sounding the same or being the same and a beat, melody, production sounding similar. Now, I think Tyler has found a certain sound that he wants to go. Like in the beginning, yes, his earlier albums sound completely different than his last couple of albums. I understand that. But I think as an artist, Tyler has just found kind of like his pocket, and he's found like his signature sound after all these years. And I think that's absolutely okay as long as the subject matter is different. And that's exactly what's happening. The subject matter is completely different than any album that he's created. I've never seen Tyler this vulnerable. We can argue about Flower Boy. Yeah, he was pretty vulnerable then. That's when we all found out he's bisexual. I got it. But this is like tapping into a lot about his childhood, personal storytelling. I think it's really good. And some people like have called out that they think that this is his Mr. Morale album. And I'm not gonna lie, I peeped a little bit of Kendrick influence, you know? Like maybe the vulnerability came from Kendrick, who knows? Or it could have just came from himself. Last thing before I move on, I do really appreciate that Tyler didn't drag out the promo for this album. I think he did this perfectly. Oh my goodness. I love the fact that like we found out about it, I want to say a little over a week ago. He told us the date. He was consistent. He slowly dropped like little teasers. He dropped like 1 or 2 songs. Surprisingly on Instagram and Twitter, which I'm starting to notice that a lot of artists are doing, they're dropping music on social media. That might be a separate conversation. Like perhaps I should do some research and like find out why are artists, is it something that you guys have noticed? Like why are artists dropping music on social media like singles versus on streaming platforms? Now, granted, he probably, I don't know, did he drop? I don't think he dropped it on Apple Music. I honestly didn't check because guess where I was listening to it? On Instagram. And he definitely dropped it on YouTube, but it was like a whole video. Like, and I'm starting to notice this. I feel like this really started during the Kendrick and Drake beef, when Kendrick specifically was dropping his entire songs on social media versus like streaming, and then like it would go on streaming a little bit later. There's something going on. Let me not start to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but there's something going on with that. I don't know if they're like making more music or if this is like a social media strategy. Like maybe they think that they'll like receive more views, or I guess because social media will give you more traction, but I will find it interesting if eventually they start counting social media views as part of like streaming. But that would be wild. I don't even know how you would count that. Would that be like a fraction of it? Like, how do you know? That doesn't seem, I don't know, because what actually counts as one view? Isn't it only like watching a few seconds? How would you be able to like count that as a streaming number? Questions for another time. So now this next segment is going to go into Digital Digest. This is going to be a shorter segment today and will be longer in the future episodes. But there really wasn't much trending on social media, and I think that's because it's election time. So honestly, my social media platforms are filled with election time, and I want to use my platform to strongly encourage everyone to cast their vote. Please, like, have a plan. Listen, there are so many people that I have talked to in New York City who are not from New York City, and they haven't quite made a plan yet. Like, how are you planning to vote? Are you going to do a mail-in ballot? Are you going to go back home to do like an in-person voting? Like, how do you plan to vote? Please make a plan. By the time this episode goes out, like, you still 100% absolutely have time. My next episode is going to be, I'm posting on Wednesdays, by the way. My next episode is going to be the day after the election. I pre-record a little bit, so you probably I won't talk about the election results in that episode. More than likely, I won't. But I do want to encourage everyone to do their research. Listen to the interviews. Read the articles. Do not just read the headlines, I beg of you. Please, please, please. And honestly, do it for both candidates. I want you to be able to understand why you're voting for one particular candidate and why you are not for the other, but do your research for both. That is my biggest advice to you. Now, I'm trying to think of how I want to say this. I will say a lot of people don't realize that social media, I will be transparent with you. I'm trying to think of like how I want to say this. Okay. I recently did phone banking on behalf of the Harrison Waltz campaign. I was doing phone banking for swing states, and this is a tight race. I did not realize how tight this race was, primarily because social media has a beautiful thing called an algorithm, which is catered towards your personal views, opinions, videos you like. So naturally, you're gonna think this is a freaking, like, we're winning this. Like, Kamala Harris is crushing this. Baby, no. No. It is so tight. And this is what I mean by, like, it's just so important for everyone to vote. Do you know that in 2016, Hillary Clinton lost by 10,700 votes in Michigan? Michigan became red because of less than 11,000 votes. Imagine how many Democrats didn't vote. Imagine how many people, and also probably didn't vote because they were like, oh, like, we primarily swing blue. No, baby. I just told one of my friends who, like, lives in Ohio, girl, like, she thought that Ohio swung blue. That is not true. It actually has been red ever since Trump. Like, these last two elections, red. It was blue for Barack Obama, but red for Trump. Guys, we have to get out there and vote. Your vote matters. Every single last one of you. And honestly, it's more than just a presidential election. Congress, senators, actual policies that are out. Like, let's make sure that we're doing our research before we walk into those votings, walk into those pollings, and oh my gosh, not pollings, LOL. Walk in and cast your vote. Make sure you do your research, because I'm also seeing on TikTok that a lot of people didn't know. I'm not a New York City resident. Well, I am a New York City resident, but I'm registered to vote in Maryland. So I did not vote in New York. But I'm seeing that a lot of people didn't realize, a lot of people did not realize, like, there was like I guess 1 through 6 questions, and they didn't know what to put down for 2 through 6. Do your research and understand what's going to be on your ballot before you enter that room, because guess what? It's going to be too late. You can't whip your phone out and, like, research. Like, You gotta vote. You can't ask your neighbor, hey, what does this mean? You actually can't talk at all. You can't talk at all. So I just want to strongly encourage everyone to do your research, cast your vote, encourage your friends, your neighbors, your family members to vote, and remind them that your vote matters. I am from Maryland. You know how many people have told me, oh my gosh, we're a blue state, we're fine. There's more in this election than just the presidential race, and this is what messes us up every single time. Okay, I just want to make sure you guys heard that. Okay, cool. All right, so now we're gonna quickly go into Wise Vibes. Ooh, this is gonna be the last segment of this first episode. Now, eventually, I would love for you guys to submit your own questions to me. To start it off, honestly, you can just DM my Instagram. My Instagram is gonna be down in the description. Again, I need to make the Instagram page for this podcast, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like call it Vibes Digest the pod or something like that, but it's gonna be in this description. Submit your questions. But until I start to grow an audience, I'm just gonna pull questions from Reddit. Also, you guys can leave questions down below in the comment section if you guys want me to answer. That's also like super easy. I don't know if you can comment on podcasts, but on YouTube, definitely leave a comment. All right, let's get into the first one. I'm 27, female, currently in a relationship going on almost 3 years. Last night, my ex called me. I dated him for 3 years. Oh, well, you just said that. It's been almost 5 years since we spoke, 2020. We were good, but he also cheated on me. Oh, wait, I understand. She also dated her ex for 3 years. Okay, got it. It's been almost 5 years since we spoke, 2020. We were good, but he also cheated on me a lot throughout my relationship with him. I was loyal and in love with him. Our breakup really messed me up for a while, but I healed and met the man I'm with now. I never blocked the number because he broke up with me and blocked me, so I haven't had contact since we broke up. I ignored the call and blocked. He called me on a different phone. Oh, I also blocked that. And he called me on private. I still did not answer. I guess in my mind, I feel like he wants to rekindle and I'm happy in my relationship now, but part of me wants to call. Ooh, what should she do? First of all, I feel like the fact that he's continuously trying to reach out to you is a clear sign that not much growth has happened. That is a bit of manipulative. Manipulative might not be the right word. And I don't want to use such strong language like abuse in this case, but it's definitely toxic behavior to continuously try to reach out to a person that is clearly trying to not have a conversation or reach out or chat. Simple as that. Your ex has reached out to you literally multiple times on different devices, which is crazy. Private numbers. He clearly doesn't know that no means no. You don't want to have a conversation, which tells me that he still needs to work on some things, okay? Behaviors are very so toxic. I don't know the reason why they broke up. She doesn't really go into that. He probably definitely regrets the breakup a little bit. He's probably also like, oh, I miss her. Or maybe he's just really bored. And he's like, oh, like who do I know is a good time and I can reach out to, and it's you. And he probably doesn't know that you're in a relationship right now. Or if he does, that's even crazier. The key here is the fact that he's continuously reaching out to you, although you keep blocking and you don't have a conversation. That tells you there is no growth. You will not gain anything from this. Do not risk your relationship, your current relationship that you say that you're happy in, for the past. Don't let curiosity kill the cat. Do not let curiosity kill your relationship. Just block him and literally do not respond, because the moment you respond is the moment that he realizes, oh, I still have access to you. You do not want him to send a clear sign. You do not have access to me. Send a clear sign that he does not have access to you anymore. Next question. This situation happened 10 plus years ago, but has always left me confused. At the time, my wife and I were together 20 plus years when she found out her sister slept with my ex-boyfriend. With her ex-boyfriend, oh my goodness. I should also mention my wife and the guy share a child together. One more detail, my wife's sister has had a promiscuous past since she was a teen. My wife was told about it through a third-party relative. The hookup supposedly happened during a drunk moment in time, and when discussing it with me, my wife seemed bothered by it. As her husband, I was confused and somewhat angry as I asked, why would this bother you? Naturally, she claimed it did not bother her. However, she admitted that she was a little put off by her sister's actions. At some point, she confronted her sister but never shared those details of that conversation. I have zero cares who an ex of mine sleeps with, relative or not. Of course, this was years ago, but my question is, as a spouse, how would you have reacted to my wife's behavior? I would be comforting. The hell? Bro, your hold on. Your wife found out that her sister slept with the father of her child, her ex? Why are we ignoring the fact that she also shares a child with this man? That is insane. First of all, horrible on the sister. What the hell? That is beyond breaking girl code. That is way worse than like a best friend, a friend, whoever, sleeping with an ex. You are my blood relative, my sister, and you slept with my ex, and not only just any ex, y'all. The ex who happens to be the father of my child. I would be livid. If I was the wife, you would have to hold me back. I would be absolutely livid. Like, I would not speak to my sister ever again. I don't care if it was a drunk moment. No, I do not I do not still have feelings for my ex. It's the principle. It's the disrespect. It's the fact that this is a man that I continuously probably still have to have interactions with because we share a child together. We probably co-parent together. And now I have to look at you and know, you nasty, nasty man slept with my sister. What? And her sister has some serious issues. That's all I'm gonna say. Her sister has some serious issues that she needs to work out. A little bit of jealousy there, a little bit of careless acts. I would be absolutely livid. And the fact that I found out from a third-party relative, I didn't even find out from my sister. First of all, why does this third-party relative know? Like, who is this third-party relative? Is it a cousin? No, I would be livid. And shame on you, husband, for trying to make this about you. This is not about you. Your wife just found out devastating news. What do you mean you wouldn't care if, like, someone sleeps with your ex? You wouldn't care if your brother sleeps with this woman? Let's say y'all two broke up. Let's say you guys get a divorce. You wouldn't care if your brother sleeps with her? You wouldn't feel disgusted by that? You would. You would. Let's not make this about you. How I would respond if I was in your shoes is I would be comforting. I would say that's really effed up on her part. And I would help her work through, like, how does she want to mend that relationship? Does she want to mend that relationship? And I would be there for my partner. I would not make this about me, because guess what? It's not about you. Okay, next question. My birthday is on Wednesday. My boyfriend of 7 years didn't make a reservation. Oh. I only found this out because I told him that my mom was wondering what my B-Day plans were. I also got mad because he said he started flight therapy today, but his therapist didn't tell him how many sessions for our flight therapy it takes. And my boyfriend said he would ask next week. I finally got him to agree to email the therapist tomorrow, or I think. But is it wrong thinking that after 7 years of dating, he didn't plan my birthday and I don't feel important? I know career is always a priority, but maybe this is what relationships turn into. Would appreciate any advice. Oh, honey, no. I don't know about you. Now, here's a couple things. Hold on. Hopefully, I'm not messing up the audio here by moving this microphone. Here's a couple things. Not everyone takes birthdays as seriously, but somebody like me, I love birthdays. I love celebrating other people's birthdays. I love celebrating my birthday. I would be deeply hurt by that, especially after 7 years. Now, a few things. One, ask yourself, how much do I actually care about celebrating my birthday? Is it just like another year for me? Is it something that I truly take serious? I don't know that context here. If this is, I'm gonna go on the realm and say you wouldn't be asking this if like you didn't enjoy celebrating your birthday. After 7 years, he should know how much that means to you. right? I do have friends who like literally do not want to celebrate their birthday, and I hate that because I love celebrating them. So, but I still like always do something small for them, right? Whether that's a picnic, or maybe that's just me like going over, getting them a gift, a bottle of wine, whatever the case may be. Like, I always make sure I have the opportunity to celebrate them nonetheless, even if it's on a very small scale, because they might not enjoy celebrating birthdays. That makes complete sense. Totally understand that. In this case though, he didn't make a reservation. He hasn't even like reached out to his job to see if he's gonna have flight therapy. Like, that's a little bit concerning. That's a little bit of red flags, and it's a little bit of a sign of like, are you checked out of this relationship? I would also ask you to look back 6 birthdays, like the last 6 birthdays. What did that look like? Did he go all out? Have you noticed, like, okay, let's say birthday 1 through 3, he went all out, threw a party, went on vacation, had a grand dinner, got you a gorgeous gift, a nice handbag. Did he go all out, and is he now slowly starting to like care less? But clearly you're not caring less because you're still going out your way to celebrate him. I would ask those questions. If it was always a pattern of like, oh, like he never really put in a ton of effort with my birthdays, that's one thing. If he did put a ton of effort and now it's starting to like lessen and lessen, that's a sign, in my opinion, of somebody who is a little checked out of a relationship, and that's not the best flag. I would also be concerned because 7 years into a relationship, like, you should know your partner really cares about something. Career or not, you should still be a priority, and you should be able to make both work. Okay, you have flight therapy on my actual birthday, cool. Let's celebrate that weekend. I understand career comes first to a certain extent, but you can also prioritize both things by saying, hey babe, I have flight therapy here. Maybe he surprises you with a nice gift, nice breakfast in the morning before he goes off to flight therapy, and then that Saturday you guys have dinner reservations. There's ways to work around it, right? As long as he's still prioritizing you. I would also ask yourself, like, do you want to get married? Do you want to get married to this guy? You guys have been dating for 7 years. That's probably going to be the next step, right? I would just think about, is this going to continue into the marriage? And is it going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse? Because if so, and this is such a hard thing to say because I know it's so much easier said than done, but that's when I would start rethinking the relationship as a whole. Now, I know some people might be like, oh wow, girl, it's just a birthday. It's not that serious. But it's kind of the smaller things I would say to look out for. And birthdays are not small things, in my opinion. I think they're actually very big things, and I think it speaks volume that you're not celebrating me. I really do. Yeah, I would just ask all those different questions. Yeah, I would ask myself all those different questions and kind of like analyze, hey, what did the last couple birthdays look like? And what will the next couple birthdays look like? And is this something that's just going to get worse and worse? And is it better to leave now versus leaving in like 3 more years? And also, how old are you? 7 years of dating, no ring, no marriage. You might be young. And also, marriage is not the end goal for everybody. So let me not prejudge on that. But 7 years of dating and you're like not prioritizing my birthday, that's a red flag, babe. And you absolutely are 100% valid for feeling like upset about this. He should be making you a priority. I don't care if you guys have been together for 30 years. You should still be a priority because guess what? You should be a priority, period. But like also guess what? You're making him a priority. So there we go. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to my first episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope the audio was good. Let me go get my cat out the closet. She was scratching and like having a fit in that closet, girl. I can't wait to experience how I'm gonna edit this lovely audio. I took a lot of pauses, a lot of breaks, but it's my first time like trying to film on audio. So hopefully it's, I don't know, hopefully it sounds good and crisp. I used a microphone. Let me know in the comments down below. Please give this video, if you're watching on YouTube, give this video a big thumbs up, comment and let me know what you thought about Tyler's album, Chromacopia. Comment down below any advice that you want to give to those Reddit users. And yeah, don't forget to go ahead and vote, subscribe, because I'm going to be uploading all the content on YouTube. And also, like, definitely subscribe, follow, download all those wonderful podcast things. This podcast is going to be on all audio platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I can't wait to talk to you guys next week. Bye.